Let's begin with our top story on Nagorno-Karabakh as hundreds of Baku residents took to streets on Sunday to celebrate after President Ilham Aliyev said that the Azeri forces had taken control over Shusha, the second largest city in the Nagorno-Karabakh enclave. However, the Armenian officials have now denied Azerbaijan's claims of military gains. In Baku, Azeris gathered in large numbers to celebrate, waving flags and chanting slogans while drivers sounded their car horns. Which Armenians call Shushi, is of cultural and strategic importance to both sides and is located 15 kilometers south of the enclave's largest city of Stepanakert.
Artık gözümüz aydın, bütün milletimizin gözü aydın. Bütün Ali Baş komandanı, bütün Türk dünyasını, bütün İslam ordusunu tebrik edirəm. Bu bayramı sevinci yaşamak başka duygudur, başka hissi.
Meanwhile, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan congratulated Azerbaijan on Sunday for allegedly capturing Shusha.
Şuşa'nın kurtuluşu, işgal altındaki toprakların kalan kısmının özgürlüğüne kavuşmasının yakın olduğunun da işaretidir. Bir kez daha kardeşim İlham Aliyev başta olmak üzere tüm Azerbaycanlı kardeşlerimizi şahsım, ailem, milletim adına tebrik ediyorum.
Turkish Foreign Minister and Defense Minister met Azeri President on Sunday in Baku and said that they were elated over the recent developments. Turkey has continuously backed Azerbaijan in this raging conflict between the two countries. At least 1,000 people have died in nearly 6 weeks of fighting in and around Nagorno-Karabakh. For more details and a sense of perspective, let's quickly go across to our guest, Yusuf Erim, who's joining us live from Istanbul. He is the editor-at-large at TRT World. A very warm welcome to you, Yusuf. Thank you for joining our broadcast today. Now, how accurate are these claims over the victory over Shusha, since Armenian forces have denied claims?
I believe they're very, very accurate, because we know that Azerbaijani forces, as of last week, were 5 kilometers outside, and we know this distance shortened to 2 kilometers outside, and Shusha was a very important objective for Azerbaijan to liberate the city after 3 decades of occupation by Armenian forces. Now, when we look at Shusha, it's the cultural heart of Azerbaijan.
Right.
Many of Azerbaijan's poets, artists, composers, they all hail from Shusha. But when we look at Yes.
Exactly. Since you're mentioning the cultural significance of the city, I'd like to ask you, why is this being seen as a major strategic victory for the Azeri forces?
Well, when we look at, not only is it very important culturally, when we look at this from a military chessboard type of point of view, we see that Shusha is situated in a very important area. It's a vantage point. It's a highland. Very close to the Lachin Corridor. The Lachin Corridor is an area that allows Armenia proper access into the Nagorno-Karabakh region. So when Azerbaijani forces have taken back Shusha, they now have a bottleneck forcing and restricting Armenian supply lines to their troops on the front, which is making the situation very, very difficult for Armenia. Also, once Shusha is now completely taken and established, the Azerbaijani presence there is established, there can also be other military operations launched into Stepanakert as well, and other very important regions of Nagorno-Karabakh. So Shusha was a very hard task, and by taking it, now it has opened the door for many new military operations into very strategic and key cities in Nagorno-Karabakh.
Right, clearly going by what you're telling us, this is one step forward into other important locations, including Stepanakert in the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Having said that, Yusuf, why is it that Azerbaijan has an upper hand in this fighting? Is it emboldened because of the Turkish support?
Well, first thing we have to remember that Azerbaijan already had a strong military. It was a big buyer of Turkish weapons, Israeli weapons, Russian weapons, And Azerbaijan's a rich country. They have a lot of natural gas. Their economy is very, very strong. So it has been able to update and modernize its military over the years. Well, Armenia, a much poorer country, is still fighting with many Soviet-era weapons. Turkey has also provided some military assistance to Azerbaijan by selling drones and allowing the use of its drones in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. So this has been a big game changer. Now, when we look at the Armenian side, when they started reheated this 30-year-old conflict, the Armenian leadership, most namely Prime Minister Pashinyan, he was probably expecting support from Moscow if things went bad.
Right.
But Moscow looks at Pashinyan, who has come closer and closer to the West, most namely France and the United States, and they're not very happy with the direction that he's taking Armenia.
It's interesting, Yusuf, that you mentioned Moscow. Fighting has continued despite efforts by France, Russia and US. Just days ago, Iran had accused the Minsk group of not having done enough to diffuse tensions in Nagorno-Karabakh. What's your stance on Iran's take, and what's the way forward for this period at the moment?
Well, the last thing Iran wants to see is conflict on its borders. Obviously, it's seen enough conflict on its borders from Iraq, and the conflict in Syria has obviously impacted it also. So it wants to see a peaceful resolution to Nagorno-Karabakh. But that doesn't change the fact that there are 4 UN Security Council resolutions saying that Armenian troops need to withdraw. So yes, the Minsk group has been very ineffective over the past 30 years regarding its management of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. And we're seeing Russia and Turkey now talking with each other, trying to bring about some type of ceasefire that will appease both Armenia and Azerbaijan. And most recent reports say that a ceasefire deal is in the works and could be negotiated in the coming weeks. And I think that the liberation of Shusha might actually support a diplomatic agreement now that Azerbaijan has taken back an important part of its territory. So we're going to have to follow this story very, very closely. Right now, it looks like a military solution is unfolding, but that does not mean that both sides might not come back to the table and reach a peaceful ceasefire towards the end.
Absolutely. Here's hoping that that peaceful ceasefire is in the works and it actually materializes as soon as possible. For now, thank you so much, Yusuf Erim, for bringing us all those latest details.